guys. So this is going to be an unboxing video of a new tarot that I got, yay, by the great Christopher Hughes, who's a druid. He's a druid, a Welsh druid from Wales, called the Bee Tarot. And I'm really liking what I've seen of this deck so far, so I'm excited to really start exploring this deck. This is a new Llewellyn deck, and Llewellyn has been doing really well as far as I'm concerned. The last probably 5 years, I really like their decks. And so I'm excited. This is the first video that I'm going to try, and we'll see if I come back and it's just me head on. You'll know that I couldn't figure it out. But I'm going to try to hone in on the cards so that you can see the cards a little bit better. So bear with me. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so let's see how we do here. Again, this is the Bee Tarot. This is Christopher Hughes. I have quite a few of Christopher Hughes' decks, and I really like him. He has a Celtic point of view. So you open the box. This is what you start out with. Did the bees understand the mysteries of the Druids, or did the bees perhaps give them access to those mysteries? So I will say that for me, the book here is going to be really important because I do not have the kind of relationship that I want to have with the bees. I have started. I will say that when I was younger, I was terrified of bees. I still don't have the kind of relationship that I want to have. The connection that I feel to them is strong, but I am still somewhat fearful of bees, and I think that just comes from, traumatic stuff from my childhood. But I am working on it, and I would love to someday maybe be able to have, like a hive of my own. So I did, before we start looking at the cards, I did want to show the first part of this. There was something that was said that I just was like, oh, that's really good. And it made me look at this deck a lot different. So there's an ancient British adage, ask the wild bee what the old druids knew. It implies a relationship between the bees and the priesthood of the ancient Celtic world. It tells us that the bees understood the mysteries of the druids. Or did they perhaps give the druids access to those mysteries? And there's a lot of things in here that talk about, our relationship with the bees. It's a gorgeous book. And so definitely I would use it, and I'll be having it out at least the first month. I'm going to try to focus on this deck specifically for the next month. Bubba, stop licking. Right next to the camera. The cards, there's the inside of that. The cards, when you pull these cards out, and I will see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see the linen, but it's almost like linen cardstock. You see? Yeah, you can see it is like a texture there. The backs of the cards. They're really, really beautiful, though. And I really am loving that they feel great. They're thinner than some of the really super thick cardstock, but I have found that I really like some of the thinner cardstock because it shuffles better, for me anyways. So let's take a quick peek at these cards. Hopefully we'll be able to see. So we start off with the Fool, which in this case is called the Keeper. Really beautiful. Obviously, here we have the beekeeper starting out with just a few hives. And again, so you have to remember that this whole deck really is the relationship between us and the bees. Oh, I was going to bring Galileo over. Galileo. Here's Galileo. He just wanted to be involved. So, the whole deck is about the relationship between us and the bees. So it looks at that relationship through the beekeeper, as if we were the beekeeper. So that is a great card to start out with. Then we have the Magician. So, and again, part of the Magician, the tools that the Magician uses here as the beekeeper, see how he's pulled out the honeycomb? And if you don't know anything at all about beekeeping, this will kind of help you to learn a little bit about beekeeping too. It's very interesting. But this is how you get the honey, you pull out the honeycomb. And then the smoke, which calms the bees, is part of the tools of the beekeeper. Love that. Us being the beekeeper, part of our toolkit. Here, calming the bees. There's a couple times like where I was going to open up the book for some of these too. The Melissae, that is the High Priestess. I think this might be one of them where I was going to read a little bit from the book because it's just some of these interpretations are so great. And that's what I mean by I would definitely look at the book when you first get this deck because there's so much great insight in there, and I really love Christopher Hughes anyway and the Celtic aspect of things. But you can see look at her dress is made out of the honeycomb, and all of the bees there just, you know, helping to incorporate. So it says derived from the Greek Melissa, which in turn is taken from the word mel, honey. In ancient Greek mythology, the Melissae is a nymph who tended to the infant Zeus and fed him honey rather than milk. One of Zeus's name is Melisseos, meaning bee man, implying that bees and honey are intricately woven into myth. In this card, the figure between the two pillars represents the complex and intriguing history of bees in the ancient Grecian and wider European world, and it does so through the guise of the Melissae. Whereas the title Melissa refers to a nature spirit and sometimes a deity, the Melissae is the title given to the role of priestesses in service to a number of goddesses such as Demeter, Artemis, and Persephone. So there's a whole history of priestesses with that title in specific. It also, you know, has to do with the bees, but there's a whole history that has to go with that. So I thought that was super interesting. I like it a lot. And then I think we're gonna read the book again when it gets to the lovers, I think, just a little bit. Okay, so this is going to be a long video if I keep stopping this long, right? So the third card is the Empress. Again, really gorgeous. We see the queen bee here, our relationship with the queen. I love, look at the headdress. Ugh, it's just so gorgeous. God, that's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. So the Empress. Here we have the Emperor. Just love it. His beard is made of bees. And again, the headdress, he has the bees involved with the flower and the pollen. Ugh, so gorgeous. And we have, this is traditionally the Hierophant. This is the Delphic bee. And you can see the honey dripping from the pillars, dripping from the Hierophant here. Ugh, it is such a great image. Can you see that up close? Really, really beautiful. The bees around, and always the smoke, right? The smoke calms the bees so that when you're working with the bees, they're in a state of calm. Really gorgeous imagery. And here, the traditional lovers card. This is called the Honeymoon. And this is something that I never knew, that this is where that word came from. Often taken to mean a period of blissful harmony following a betrothal or a holiday that is taken after a marriage, the term honeymoon is intimately connected to relationships. The term is derived from the Old English honey and moon, which contains a reference to the sweetness of marriage, as well as refers to the European tradition of gifting the married couple with mead to last an entire cycle of the moon. Within the hive, bees store and feed on honey during the colder months, but prior to a swarm being the process by which the honeybees leave their colony to form a new colony elsewhere, the bees will gorge on honey and take that stock to a new location. In other words, they'll fill up on it so that they can then create it again in their new location. In Old English customs, this detail from the hive was imposed upon the wife, who should abstain from the consumption of honey lest she flee the marital home. In the vernacular language, a honeymoon period is when an individual finds themselves in a new position where a symptom of grace is employed that forgives any teething problems that may arise. In other words, learning something new. Regardless of how the charm is used, and the implication is that the honeymoon refers to connection and relationship, and whilst it's tempting to externalize this as physical love between two individuals, it can often refer to self-love. Within the hive, we cannot establish if the bees act from a platform of love or instinct for the well-being of the collective. In either case, both collective and the individual needs are cared for. So what a great interpretation for the lovers. Is it, it means all that. It also can refer to that self-love period. So beautiful. Really gorgeous. Then we have key 7, which is traditionally is the chariot. In this case, it is the barrow. Again, everything is renamed a little bit, but it's for a reason. And the book will tell you every reason. It's hard because I almost kind of want to go into the background of each card. Is super interesting. But it would, this would be a super long video if I went into each one individually. So I won't do that. I'm going to, do I want to? No. I'm not going to do, maybe death. We'll see. Let's see how we do. All right, so that is traditionally the chariot, called the barrow. Here we have one of my favorites. This is the strength card. And look at how gorgeous she is. I love that there's a great body image represented here. Just beautiful. And here she has the strength to commune with the bees without fear. So beautiful. Really, really pretty. Then we have the hermit. And it is, a time of reflection for sure, but also of communion with, the bees around him. The ever-present smoke. This is going to be a really, really deep deck, and a great one, I think, for self-reflection for sure. The wheel. Gorgeous. I so want to do this in my yard. I think, have certain things in the wheel to represent each of the Sabbats. That would be awesome. Really gorgeous. And we have Justice. I love, love, love this Justice card. So this specifically is referring to the honeybees. If a honeybee stings you, it loses its life. So the justice here is deciding, if this is necessary. Is this something really necessary? Even though that justice means you're going to lose your life for that. That's quite an image of justice, right? How important is it? Kind of puts things into a different perspective for sure. Really gorgeous. So the next card here is the Hanged Man. This is called the Hanged One in this case. Look at completely surrounded by the bees, but totally at peace. And again, if you look at his face, his or her face, totally at peace. There is no, the sacrifice is there, but it is a willing sacrifice. We do what we have to do in order to get what we want. So the sacrifice, which is a willing sacrifice. Love that. Then is Death. This is one I think I was going to pull out the book on, because he makes a very specific notion where it's different from the idea of death that we've heard before. It says, our entire creativity stems from the fact that we are finite and will eventually die. We survive through our creativity, literally or symbolically, by leaving legacies that the future will remember. Often we may become stuck in creative blocks or feel that something is preventing our progression. This is often a sign that a transition is needed, a stepping stone that crosses from a place of stagnation to movement. Bees have long been associated with the dead and have acted as messengers between the apparent world and the spiritual dimension. There's a British tradition of telling the bees, which calls for significant news to be relayed to them, particularly if someone dies. Failure to inform them may result in the hive swarming. Death represents leaving the old and moving into the new, a function that the bees do well when they swarm from their old home in search of a new one. It is often said that the Death card represents transformation, when in fact it is the gateway to transformation. This is best described as a transitionary card that points to a process that leads to eventual transformation. So the gateway. You will notice that the deck does not contain what is perceived as the opposite of death, which is birth, and for good reason. The Death card contains birth within it. They are two sides of the same coin. Death releases and causes the birth of another state of being. Birth leads to eventual death, and the cycle continues. So he did not feel the need to put the birth in there, because it's a part of the transition and it's all in there. So it's like the beginning of the transformation. Really beautiful. I love the smoky outline here of the sunset. Just a beautiful card. Then we have Temperance. Love, love, love the Temperance card. Love that the flow is of honey. And again, her dress is honeycomb. Look at her face and her antlers here. Just gorgeous. Beautiful. Okay, 15 is the Devil. Love this interpretation. You see the commercial hives in the background. Look at the dark storm clouds. Just super great imagery there. The darkness of the card. So the Devil, it says the Devil is responsive. He reacts to the environment. He can represent our inability to see clearly the things that tie and control us. We become slaves to the status quo, locked into habitual practices and behavior. The Devil card challenges us by questioning our motives and responses. It is a lens that focuses on the minute details of the self. Damaging patterns of behavior often occur because we are not willing to look closely at our role in the situation. The Devil does not drag you to a place of damnation, but offers a path through challenges toward the light. In Abrahamic religions, the Devil is associated with Lucifer, whose name means the morning star, and as an adjective, the bringer of light. Love this. Ugh, this is such a great deck. It really is. The tower. This is a very symbolic tower. We have the hornets here. The lightning, which has caught the hive on fire. And the bees fleeing from the hive. This is, again, a forceful change. There is a transformation coming. We did not see it ahead of time. It is forceful. It will bring something that we would not have seen before it, but it is not something that we planned for, accounted for, or ever could see coming. It's a tough change, right? The star. Just beautiful. Look at the hollowed out dead tree here. The moon in crescent form with the big star. It's just, I really, really love how the bees are, placed into every card with purpose. Here is the moon card. The willow tree coming in on the sides here, that bright full moon, and the sleeping hives. We're stepping towards the sleeping hives here to see, what the mysteries are. Darkness means a lot of different things. We don't see a whole lot going on within the hives in the darkness, right? So there's mysteries abounded. Gorgeous. The sun. Look at all the different kinds of bees in this sunflower. It's just gorgeous. This is such a really, really, really think I'm going to love this deck. Did I say that before? Here we have Rebirth. Card 20 is Rebirth, which is traditionally judgment. So here that worker is coming forth, rebirthing what he is to be doing. And finally, the world. I love the strategic placement of the bees here. And again, the different kinds of bees in the corner. Look at the, See, he has shed off all of his protective gear, and he now knows how to trust the bees. He knows his interaction with the bees is, he's learned what he's going to learn. He can now connect with the bees without the protection around him. Ready to start a new journey. I love that. Love it. Okay, now that we are through the major arcana, I'm going to go a little bit faster here. So, here we have the wand suit, the Ace of Wands. Look at the coloring of the sky. Oh, such a beautiful sky. Two of Wands. I love that we have, this is a fully illustrated deck. If pip decks are one thing, I'm disappointed in a lot of the decks that are for like pop culture that have come out that are just pip decks. But Llewellyn has done a great job of really keeping up with all of these gorgeous fully illustrated decks. Here's the Three of Wands, looking out to what is to come. The Four of Wands, celebration in the lavender fields. See the two people in the distance. And again, the coloring of the skies here is just incredible. There's a lot of purples and smoky skies and really beautiful. Five of Wands. Here we have, love that. Look at the wands pointed at the others. And so there's a lot of contention here. There's contention that can make us better. Six of Wands. A victorious battle. Not the end of the war, but yes, a victory that we are to celebrate and use to propel us forward. Seven of Wands. Look at the greenery around that. Gorgeous. And the building of the hive. Just gorgeous. 8 of Wands. The motion here. And again, we can see the motion in the wands. We can see the motion of collecting the pollen and the nectar that it needs to propel themselves forward. Gorgeous. 9 of Wands. We have felt some defeat here, but all is not lost. We're going to pick ourselves up. We have the ability to move forward. We can maybe reevaluate. Is this something we really want? If so, yes, we have the ability to move forward. It's not complete defeat. Here is the 10 of Wands. Look at all of the pollen. See all the pollen? I love this image. How gorgeous. Talk about overwhelming, right? I mean, he's so full. I can't believe this fat little bee can fly with all that pollen. Beautiful. Princess of Wands. So instead of Page, Knight, Queen, King, we have Princess, Prince, Queen, King, Queen. Look at that. Ugh. Beautiful. Queen and King. Look at the red, the honeycomb in the red. Oh, can you see the honeycomb here? And the red that he's wearing. That confident look. Oh, gorgeous cards. Okay, then instead of cups, we have jars. Ace of Jars. Dripping with honey, which is, very obviously going to convey the emotion of water. 2 of Jars. Beautiful. Look at the bees pattern here of infinity intertwining with each other. Gorgeous. 3 of Jars. Gorgeous connection with our spiritual soul sisters, our spiritual beings, our tribe together, celebration, spiritual celebration. 4 of Jars. I love this. We are focused on one thing and one thing only. And look, it's spilling out. And there's this other stuff here being offered that we're not even paying attention to. 5. Again, look at the black cloth over the hive. Powerful. 6 of Jars, looking at stuff through children's eyes, right? Playing like children, receiving, giving back. Look at the ribbons. 7 of Jars. 8 of Jars. We're doing pretty good now. We have really been able to connect with what we're doing. Look at the honeycomb in the walls. Oh, I love this. 9 of Jars. A time of luxury. The gorgeous, the dripping of the honeycomb, the full jars, the flowering, gorgeous flora behind her, and the plump pears maybe, or apples on the trees. Gorgeous flowers next to her. Here is the 10 of Jars. I love this image. Look at the children dressed as bees. How freaking cute. The extra honey all over the apple trees. Here we have the hives underneath the shade of the apple trees. We have really set this up for future generations worth of being in this hive culture. Here we have the Princess of Jars. Look at the throne. I love the throne is filled with bees. She's not even sitting on the throne. She's like, yeah, the bees are in charge here. I'm learning. I love it. Here we have the Prince. Love that shield. He is standing on the throne, not yet ready to sit in the throne, right? Learning through that journey, but using what he's learned as a shield. Finally, we get to the queen, who now is sitting on the throne, is able to use her emotions. The hive is right next to her. The king then is fully embodied with the hive, dripping with honey himself. His garments are dripping with the honey. He is like fully a part of the hive. Beautiful. Then we move on to swords. Love that image with the sword and the bees coming through, the crown on top. 2 of swords. Love the blindfold here. The imagery is beautiful. Look at that 3. There is the piercing through the heart. And then the hornet here is also stinging in. So not only 3 swords, but you still have heartache within the hive. And the lightning through the top here shows the storms. 4 of swords. Here we are resting. Resting in this gorgeous daffodil field with the different hive members collecting the pollen. 5 of swords. We have some imagery of defeat. Look at the woodpecker pecking through the hive here, really destroying the work we've done. It feels so defeating. It's not total defeat, but boy, it feels like it when we're in that. Here's the 6. Moving from rough waters, moving into something we may not even know exactly where we're going, but we trust that we're moving in a direction that will bring us what we need. 7 of swords. We've had several bouts of defeating battles. All is not lost. 8. Gorgeous. Look at the ivy coming up. So those battles have been, ongoing, but they have been a while. We're rebuilding. We're patching things. We're continuing to fight. The 9. I like this. There is not a hive in sight because it is in our mind. It is our nightmares that are creating our anxiety. I have 2 of them, though. Go ahead. You can have one. As long as, make sure there's another one in there. But
there is, but
yeah.
not a blackberry.
Yeah, it is. They're both blackberry.
No, they're not.
Hold on. So again, yes, this is the nightmare effect. The hive is nowhere to be seen because it really is in our head. And then finally, the 10 of swords. This is where it's just utter defeat here. The hive is on fire, stabbed through with several swords, and sometimes it's time. There's nowhere else to be. There's no lower we can go. So guess what? The whole hive is leaving. It's time to swarm, move on to something else, because this is just as defeated as we can be. Here we have the Princess of Swords. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at this prince. All right, I do want to show this prince up close a little bit because I love his face here. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, this is such a gorgeous card. Again, lots of purples in this deck. Love the purples. Here is the Queen of Swords. The bees are intertwined in her hair. She has the sword that's pointed up. She has bees in her hand. She's very at home with the workings of the hive, right? She can connect intellectually with the hive. And here is the king, looking stern, connecting with that hive in a great manner. The purple is now completely behind him. that banner. Here, so in this, in the swords, it's the banner really that shows how integrated they are with the hive. Here, and finally, here's the pentacles. We have the ace. Look at the honey bread. So beautiful. Two of pentacles. This is the only, I can't remember if it comes up again, but I don't think so. I think this is the only card I see with snow in the background, really. I don't know if that was on purpose. Really interesting that there's still like this flora that is kind of drawn in around us, but we don't see. See, the trees are bare. So I should read the book for that one, right? It's very interesting. Very interesting. Here's the Three of Pentacles. So we have working together, some partnership here going on. I love the window. I want a window like that, don't you? The Four of Pentacles. Here, she feels like she's conquered the hive. But guess what? They're all empty. So how dumb are you? You know, like, yay, I have everything. I'm going to hang on to. Yeah, well, you aren't nurturing what you have, and instead you just have empty hives. Five of Pentacles. Beautiful. Look at the globe here on the shelf. Can you see that? Maybe if I put it into view, right? Oh, that's beautiful. Here is the Six of Pentacles. Love this image of the hutch integrated with all these bees. We have all the different ways of the bees and the honey and what we can do with the honey and the candles and the actual honey and then honey cakes and just honey tea. All of that. Gorgeous. Seven of Pentacles. Here we are reaping some of the beautiful rewards of what we have done, showing others, you know, what we can do when you connect with the hives. Eight of Pentacles. It's either honey milk, like a milk and honey thing. That's like, oh, that is a really interesting Eight of Pentacles. All right, I got to bring out the book just because, wow, that's super interesting. Not at all what I would expect with that. Eight of Pentacles. Let's read it quick. I promise, we're almost done. You're doing great. In this scene, we see the keeper engaged in the activity of creating another product associated with beekeeping, creams and lotions for skin and beauty care. This is something that needs to be learnt, then practiced in order to create a product that is well balanced and nurturing to the skin. A slight inconsistency in the production and it may be unusable. The fickle side of this card is that whatever is about to take place in the querent's life will require study, effort, and time. And whilst you are prepared to do this, it does come at a price. It may require that you sacrifice your time and consequently miss out on certain occasions in your life that have become habitual. Some people may not entirely understand, which is why they're in shadow, must be in the window here. Your decision to do this, but know that you are on the right course and success will come to you. This is an encouraging card that asks you to keep at it, put your head down, and do the work. The rewards will be worth it. Oh, I like that the people that, you know, may not understand are in the shadows behind you, but you're focused on the right thing. Gorgeous. Nine, the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, here we have snow, more snow. I was wrong. The 9 and 10 have snow too. Look at look at how gorgeous that is. Oh, she is beautiful. And then the 10, oh, I love this. Here's the green man. The green man with the 10. Absolutely stunning. The princess, so here, these are actual bees. The Princess of Pentacles with, I believe, a thistle. From looking at the leaves, I think it's a thistle. Prince of Pentacles. So different flora, fauna. The Queen of Pentacles. Look at the background here. Oh, so gorgeous. And then the King. Just a deck that I really appreciate. I'm going to be focusing on this deck, I believe, for the next month. I'm really excited about it. I'm a Christopher Hughes fan. So if you are too, I will put the link in the down bar to purchase this deck. I got it off of Amazon and it just released. So feel free to use my link. And I love you guys. I will see you again very soon.